I'm so excited for this review. That being said, I'm still not entirely sure how this review is going to go or like what all I'm going to say, but I did finish Warstorm yesterday, which means I've now read the entirety of the Red Queen series, not including the companion books because I don't own those, but I have read all 4 of the main novels. Since this review is just about Warstorm, expect spoilers. There are lots of spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, I will have a review of the whole series coming out in a few days or in a week or something. I will have that one soon, so keep an eye out for that if you don't want spoilers. If you don't care about spoilers, keep watching. This whole series has really just blown me away, and Warstorm was no different. It surprised me in a lot of ways, it subverted my expectations. The ending was definitely not what I expected, which I'll get to, but it really was a great final addition to the series, in my opinion. So at the start of this one, Cal is now king, which we've kind of been expecting all along, but that was a big decision at the end of the last book, because he either could choose Mare and a changed way of life, or the crown, and he chose the crown. So this one starts with them obviously being estranged, basically, and a bit upset with each other, and so there's a lot of figuring out that dynamic. And we get to see Montfort in this one, so a bunch of the crew journey to Montfort, which that was so much fun, because there's so many wacky relationships in this. And so you have Cal and Mare. Okay, so there ended up being sort of a large group that went to Montfort, and it wasn't quite as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be. There was like one dinner where things were really awkward and it was kind of fun. Otherwise, it didn't really matter all that much. But you have Cal and Mare, who obviously love each other, but also are currently upset with each other because of choices that have been made. You have Evangeline, who is once again engaged to Cal. Now that he's going to be king, he needs a queen, and so Evangeline's his queen. So you just have like this fun group, and I think Killorn ends up coming with them also. I could be wrong about that, but I think Killorn comes too. And so it's just like Killorn, who's been in love with Mare for forever, and then Mare, who's in love with Cal, and Cal, who's in love with her, and then Evangeline, who doesn't love either of them and doesn't want to be there, is going also, and it's just so interesting and so much fun. So anyway, that was just kind of a really fun time. There are a lot of battles in this one, which battles are not my favorite thing to read. I don't know, the action is a little bit hard to follow sometimes, or it's just kind of the same action. It's like, I really just want to know who wins and who comes out on top. But they all did serve a purpose, they all were necessary, and I mean, it is called Warstorm, so it makes sense. One thing that I do think Victoria Aveyard did really well was Mare's trauma, and not just hers, but like other people's also. Their like PTSD from different things they've suffered and gone through, because there is like a war going on, and there's like small skirmishes, and Mare was kept captive for I think like 6 months, so she has a lot of like PTSD from that also. And I think that was handled well, and it was at least like remembered. It was important. It wasn't like, oh, now she's free and so like her symptoms are gone and she's totally fine. It's like, no, she's free now, but she still remembers those 6 months, and they still had like a big impact on her. So I did think that was done well. There's a sticker on it. I didn't even notice. I don't know if this was my favorite book. I kind of really liked King's Cage. I think that might be my favorite, but I did also really enjoy a lot about Warstorm. So it was great. It's a really chunky book. It's like 650 pages. Definitely took me a little while to get through it, but I still really enjoyed the series right up to the end. So I'm just gonna talk about the ending really quickly. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. I feel like I should have more to say. This is why I usually record videos as soon as I finish the book, because I have so many more thoughts at that point. Like, I've just finished it, I have all the emotions and all of the thoughts and whatever, and then I let it sit for a couple days and I'm like, well, okay, I really enjoyed it and I had a fun time, but like I don't really know what to say. But especially when it's part of a series that I feel like I've already said everything about. So I will try to keep this one brief. Okay, all of that being said, let's talk about the ending. That was where Victoria Aveyard really did subvert my expectations. I did a vlog for this, and I talked about like my expectations there, and my assumptions, I guess, or just like guesses of what were gonna happen. And I was wrong on most accounts, but like in very small ways. So I figured somehow Cal has to give up the crown so that he and Mare can be together. And while Cal does give up the crown, while he makes that choice for himself, by the end of the book, he and Mare are not together. She tells him, hey, I need a break. We both need a break. We both need a minute. She had just, this is another thing that surprised me, but she had just killed Maven, Cal's brother, and she's like, I know that you resent me for that. I know that you're going to have feelings about that for a while and you're going to have to work through them. So let's just take a break from each other and sort those feelings out. So that's very interesting that, like, it doesn't end with them together. And of course, it's kind of assumed that they'll get back together, that, like, Cal's going to wait for her and they'll sort it out and they'll be together. But it's very interesting that it doesn't end with them together. And the other thing I just mentioned, but Maven dying sort of subverted my expectations, more just subverted my hopes, I guess. Because I have loved Maven all throughout the series. He is such a psycho, but he's so much fun. And he reminds me a little bit of Iago from Shakespeare's Othello, which I need to reread that because I could be a little bit off there. But everything he does is manipulative and sneaky and, like, for his own gain. And he's always just, like, pulling all the strings and working people so that they will do what he wants and, like, so that everything will work out the way that he wants it and will benefit him. And while Iago is, like, more charming and he's better at that, Maven still does it very well, I think. So I just really loved him. I fell in love with him in the first book when you think that he's just the forgotten son and kind of the underdog, and he is kind of charming and sweet and, like, I don't know, I loved him in that book. So when he changes, or when, like, you see that all of it was an act, I just didn't want to accept it, and I was kind of amazed, and I had already fallen in love with him, so I have just been a Maven stan this whole time. So I was really, really hoping that they would find either a new blood who could heal him and heal his mind, and then he could, like, have a redemption arc and have a life. Or at the very least, before he died, I was hoping that he would have some sort of, like, epiphany or just some remorse for everything that he'd done, and then have that little bit of redemption and then be out of their lives. But he has no remorse, even up to the end. He still is just, like, he's been so obsessed with Mare, but he decides that, okay, if it comes down to me or her, I'm gonna kill her. Like, I have to win, I have to survive. So that is what it comes down to, and Mare ends up having to kill him, and he just has no remorse, and I was a little bit sad about that. I was really hoping for a little bit more for him. But that's okay, it is what it is, and I still think it fit. It was a good ending, it's just not what I was, like, hoping for. And I will say one more thing about the ending and then be done, but another thing that I expected was that Norta would be fully won for the Reds and the New Bloods, and that it would become more like Montfort, where it's more of a mixed society where, like, nobody has power over anybody else. Not really, like, they still have a government. It's not complete anarchy, but it's not like, oh, the Silvers are better just because they're silver. There's a difference. So I was expecting that for Norta, and how it ended is more ambiguous also. So we get, like, another ambiguous ending where, yes, they're saved from the Lakelands for now, and they have no king, and so, like, the Reds are gonna have to step up, and the New Bloods are gonna have to step up, and I'm assuming that, like, Davidson's gonna help them figure out their government and whatever. Like, they're gonna become a bit more of a democracy. But Mare also says at the end of the book that they're probably still gonna have war in, like, a year. Like, the Lakelands aren't gonna give up, they're gonna come back, they're gonna try to take Norta. So it's not over. Which is just so interesting. Like, it's an interesting way to end it, because there's peace for now, but that peace is probably only gonna last a year, if that, and then anything could happen still. And again, it's assumed that the Lakelands will come back and Norta will win and the Lakelands won't be a threat anymore and everything will end up perfect. We don't really know that for sure. So I just thought that was an interesting way to end it. A lot of more ambiguous endings, which I don't hate that. But I guess those are all of my thoughts for Warstorm, which again is crazy. I definitely had way more thoughts as I was reading it, but it has taken me like 3 weeks to actually get through it, and all the books are starting to run together, so I have, like, nothing specific for Warstorm other than that one dinner in Montfort was really fun. I feel like so much happened. Oh, okay, well, okay. Final thing. We do see more of Iris, who is the Lakeland princess who ends up marrying Maven, or Maven marries her, whatever. So it was kind of fun to see that. I definitely was hoping that she would be more of an ally, and she ended up being an enemy of Mare and that whole crew. But that worked out. It was really cool to have, like, the New Bloods having to fight multiple sides. I think the politics in this are so much fun, and everybody's motivations. So I think that part is just done very well and it's very fun. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna end this here before I just ramble about nothing for longer. So thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like and subscribe down below. And leave a comment about your favorite fantasy series. What is a fantasy series that you can read again and again, or you can talk about forever, or that surprised you maybe, like Red Queen surprised me? Yeah, let me know down below. And I will see you in the next video. Have a blessed day, everyone. Bye-bye.